Welcome to Starting Scenery Water. 5 minutes on everything you need to know about water. Well, not everything, because water is a huge topic. There's so much to do, and I've done a large number of videos on water already. And I know there's no one right method or wrong method, but here are some of my favourites. First of all, water is almost everywhere. Unless you're doing a desert, the chances are you can squeeze water in somewhere, and often it's as simple as a small puddle. I've tried many methods over the years, but actually resin, even UV resin, which is a newer product, is just the easiest because it will self-level. And one of the things with water, it has to be flat. And actually flat water is the easiest because you can put a flat sheet down, just something like card or styrene or plywood, even if you're happy to put something on it to get rid of that grain, because otherwise it will show through in your water. You just need to paint it a colour. It can be darker towards the middle, lighter towards the edges, or if you're just doing deep water, I paint it all the same because the water's the same depth throughout. Sides of a dock or sort of a canal are very much like this. You can add the gloss for water with a simple varnish. I prefer acrylic ones because I find the solvent ones yellow over time, but basically whatever you can lay your hands on, and a couple of coats. But then what you need to add, and whatever method you use, this is something you're going to add to all water, is ripples. Now ripples, waves, crashing waves, depending on the size of your ripple, depends on the product. For smaller ripples, I like gloss medium, or you can use gloss Mod Podge. It doesn't create huge ripples, but you can blow it around with an airbrush and it makes very simple, great effect. For larger waves, I've started to move away from gloss medium because I was struggling to get it clear all the way through, and I was finding it dried with a white centre, and then that just didn't clear for months, if at all. So there are definitely better gloss mediums out there that will dry clear, so you need to find one of those. Or I've been using hybrid polymer, which is actually a glue. It's Clearfix by Everbuild, but there'll be other versions around the world, I'm sure, and you can build it up. It dries slightly matte, so you need to add a gloss coat, like a Tamiya. A normal acrylic gloss will bead on the surface a little bit too much. But it's easily thinned with white spirit, and I like the fact it's clear from the outset, which is what I'm looking for in my water ripples. You don't always need great depth of clarity in your waves though. You can just model them in the base material. I've used foil, other people, you've got Mecklin of Sweden, Martin uses toilet paper, very innovative. Other people just use polyfiller or whatever it is that comes to hand, and they create beautiful waves that are made out of a solid substance, and then they paint them and add a clear gloss coat and they create a wonderful effect. If you want your water to have depth though, so you can see through the bottom, perhaps a clear mountain spring, or you've buried rubble in there and rubbish and you want it to be visible, then you can use a clear product. Now it won't be an acrylic product, it will need to be something like a resin or a rubber, and they cure and set with a chemical reaction, so you can put them in more deeply. I know resin puts a lot of people off, but the key is really to dam well, to expect leaks, so to put something underneath, and to just go for it. Once you've set your resin, you've poured enough levels and it looks deep enough, it's time to put the ripples on, which we looked at earlier in this video. One thing I love adding into my scenery is height, and that gives us the opportunity to add another form of water, a waterfall or a weir. These are actually quite simple to make. All you need is a clear plastic bag and a clear product for water over the top that's the gel, almost like your acrylic gloss medium. I've been using hybrid polymer recently. You can use silicone, but it repels water, which makes it harder to paint. Though actually I think the way it makes the white paint you put on for froth bubble can look quite realistic. Then you cut it out and glue it in place. Put your water over the top. If you've gone with a flat water and you don't want to pour resin, you can do that too. You just need to make sure your ripples mask the top and the top of the waterfall's quite thin. And that's it. Some amazingly quick ways to add water to your diorama, and actually all a lot simpler than people seem to think. There's a lot of fear, I think, about pouring resin all over a diorama, perhaps justified. I would just advise, expect it to leak and go for it anyway. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button. I'll see you next time.